Hey, assalamu alaikum. This is Maru from Deenpreneurs.net, and today I'd like to share with you 4 stages to scale. If there's one scale you want to master, let it be this. If I can tell you this one, if you can understand the stages I'm going to go through, and even if you can pull it off only once in your lifetime, you don't have to worry about the money. And you will understand why by the end of the video. So meanwhile, we got started. So this is a part of the bonus of the my new book, 7 Steps to Success. And also we will be also putting it in the as a part of the video course. And I will share the links in the video description. You can check below. So if you're ready, we'll start now. So before we jump to this 4 stages of scale, if you're going through the book or the course, you have to do 2 steps before, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. I mean, it may make sense, but you will not get the full picture. So the first step we discussed is the purpose. As a Muslim, why we do what we do. And in a nutshell, what we discussed is it is to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to get to know Him, and ultimately, hopefully, inshallah, to love Him. So that's the first step. And the next question is like, okay, our purpose in life is to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How do we do that? That's what we discussed in the second chapter, the passion. And this is what we learn about flow. This is where you learn about Ikigai, to find your reason for being, based on your skills, based on your talents, and how to match them into something, what we call your calling. You figure out what you want to do in life. And only that, after that, you can come back to the third step, which is this one. It is called the product. What we are trying to do in the stages, we are combining your purpose and passion into a product. The product or service, in a nutshell, it is a solution to a problem for some specific people. And so based on your skills, based on your purpose, you solve it better than anybody. So by that, you create a value. It's so big, they're willing to pay for it. So you're trying to solving that problem. So in order to do that, you have to go through 4 stages. So now we're going to go through the stages and I'll explain what these are, what to do from jumping from one to the other one. The first one is called ideation. Everything what you see around you, at one point it was just a thought, it's just an idea. It could be this pen, it could be anything. It could be my shirt, camera, computers, anything. So the question is, in this stage, you need to brainstorm. And you also need to listen to people. As you see, as entrepreneurs, when people are complaining, when telling their problems, you have to listen. So right, and you will get to know a lot of problems. People have a lot of problems. And the key at the stage is based on the things you're good at. Like we did the exercise in the Ikigai, what of those problems are worth solving for you? I think the best way is to give an example. So this is example, one of the startups I'm working with. It's called, as a co-founder, Quran Era. So I will try to walk you through step by step as we did for Quran Era. So my co-founder, Nadir, he loves teaching Quran. So one of the things he wanted to do, but he did not know what. So one of the things also what bothered was his son was having difficulty learning the Quran. And he said, what if I come up with a better way to teach my son so he learns the Quran better in a more fun way? And that's what he did. And he thought, if my son is having difficulty, there must be other Muslim kids and children having the similar issue as well. So as I was explaining that, my co-founder at Quran Era, so he saw the problem that his son was struggling to learn to read the Quran. And as a teacher of Quran, he really wanted to help him. And the idea was that if his son was struggling, so must be other kids as well. And then that was how the idea started. So usually the idea starts with a problem to solve, but they should be linked to your skill. In this case, it was linked to his passion, which is teaching the Quran. It's also his purpose. He wants to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by teaching the Quran. So, and that's what the ideation phase was. So in your case, you should do the same. So once you have the ideation, you need to move on to the next stage, which is what you call MVP, or in other words, minimum viable product. So in his case, so this is something you have to pay attention. A lot of people, when they have the idea, what they do, they will run and launch something. And they pay and they wait and months for different developers. So instead of doing that, I think the best way to do that is actually to launch it as a minimum product, as a minimum viable product, which still works with the basic features, and see what you thought makes sense in the market. I want to say market, the group of people. So what in his case, his son was the first customer. What he did is that he came up with a interesting and a storytelling, based on storytelling and gamification, and giving names to letters, Arabic letters, and teaching them by storytelling. So in this case, when he started teaching to the kids, especially starting with his son, he was amazed that his son's interest picked up, and he had a much easier time and to teach him that the idea, the how to read the Quran. And as a next step, what he also did is he said, look, maybe it works with my son, but what if, does it also work with the other wider audience? So this is what he did. He went to the Islamic school where he taught kids who didn't know how to read Arabic and Quran. He taught them a lesson. Week after week, he was seeing improvement, and the kids, even though they had only once a week class, they could easily remember the stories. So this is when he know that there's something in this style of teaching the Quran. There's something that he is trying to solve a problem that he couldn't see anywhere else. And this is when we started working together with him and say, oh, this is a very beautiful idea. What if you can bring to the larger market? And together, about 3 years ago, we launched the Quran to the public. We also launched via the Launch Good, the crowdfunding campaign, where we got hundreds of Muslim parents saw the novelty, the creativity, how we are tackling this problem, and they pre-ordered. It was another, by doing that, we're moving from MVP to the product market fit slowly. So alhamdulillah, in the next year or so, we started promoting to people and like getting paid customers, and see how many of them goes from free trial to paid customers, and how many of them actually goes to completion of the whole course. So the product market fit could be different from company to company, right? So when you're moving to the product market fit, it means what you're doing is, if your product is actually not only solving a problem, but actually solving so good that people love it and they will keep coming back and even refer to people, right? So in our case, alhamdulillah, we had around 80% activation rate after if they sign up for the free trial, which is good for us. And also, most of them, they finished the course in a matter of weeks, in which we thought it's going to be a matter of months. So, which told us there is a really strong product market fit, which was great for us, alhamdulillah. And right now, and once you have this product market fit, then you have to move to the next and the last stage, what we call the growth. So from ideation to launching MVP, and from launching the minimal product to making sure the product, there's the product market fit. Your product is needed in the market and people love it. And the last but not the least is the stage we call growth. This is where you scale. This is where you know your numbers, how much it costs you to acquire a new customer, and how much it costs you to break even. To up until the point, we don't usually recommend companies to spend on paid ads, because you don't know. Like, it's like if you're spending on paid ads, it's like putting a lot of water in the bucket where lots of holes, right? All the water gets out. So up until this point, what you're trying to do is trying to make sure your product is really solving a problem really well for people. They're willing to buy, they are loving it, they're coming back, right? These are the 3 stages. In the last stage, what you're going to do is to figure out what are the ways to channel to grow this to millions of users, maybe even more. It also depends on your company, right? There are some companies that are lifestyle companies, and that one, maybe you can serve hundreds of customers and you can make a good living, which is fine. But in this case, in the Quranic era's case, we call a startup. The main difference in the startup is that when we are targeting millions of users, right? We want to reach with the Quran era millions of, inshallah, the users. So in our case, we wanted to understand what is the pathway to growth. Most of the time, it is usually through paid advertising, right? But before you touch the advertising, you need to find out what is the return on ad spend. What I mean by that is, if you spend $1, and how much? First of all, how much does it cost to acquire a customer, right? Let's say if it costs $20, but your monthly recurring fee in this case is $10. It will take us 2 months for us to break even, which is a good math, right? But sometimes it may take more. Maybe you're not comfortable with. So you need to figure out a way, a formula that will help you to grow. As I said, that's easier said than done. It's very, very tough. But once you figure out, you can grow your company to in valuation and millions and even billions, right? So one of the things I really want to you understand is that people may say a lot of things, but there are actually 3 ways to grow up your company. The first is getting more new customers. I know it's obvious, but this is what people do. But there are 2 other ways you can grow your company. One of them is called frequency. So this is not necessarily getting new customers, but getting your customers buy more often. Does it make sense? And the last but not least is average order value, AOV. Maybe you can get your customers like their order size become, instead of $5, it's $50. So sometimes it's a combination of all of this. So whenever you are thinking growth, you have to think, what are the ways, which way am I tackling, and how am I going to tackle this? Does that make sense? So there you go. These are the 4 stages to scale of your product or service. If you're an entrepreneur, that's the journey you're on. If you go to the growth stage, as I said, your company, especially if you're going after millions of users, your company will be millions, multi-million-dollar valuation. And hopefully by then you own a good portion. You don't have to worry about money. What if you are a Muslim professional, not necessarily an entrepreneur? That's also okay. Look, by learning these things, you can implement these stages in your current company. And you can help your company to go one stage to another stage. And when you're creating that, it's so valuable skill to have. Remember one thing, when you're adding so much value, the only right thing and the fair thing is you also get the value back. So if you're an entrepreneur or professional, that's the one skill to master. And these are the steps. If you have any questions, let us know. By the way, and the last but not least, if you're on a growth stage, if you are targeting Muslim audiences, reach out to us at halal.ad. We'll be happy to help you get new customers. By having said that, I will see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.